What's going on, everyone? Alan here with Elfie Welfie, my Senegal parrot. First of all, happy holidays, and in this quick video I wanted to talk about Parrot Body Language 101 and really just getting to know and understand your new parrot's body language so that you basically avoid getting bit. You can understand when something's wrong with your parrot, and on top of that, just make sure that you learn how to communicate with your parrot properly and speak the language of parrots. Now, there are a lot of different parrot body languages and nuances that exist within different species of parrots in itself and just parrots in general. So I'm not going to cover all of them. I'm just going to cover the ones that I feel are pretty important or most important to understanding your parrot and just being aware of what's going on and maybe potentially just figuring out when your parrot's excited, which can lead to potential bites. So anyway, without further ado, I want to talk about the first parrot body language that I recommend you understand and look out for. And the first one is eye pinning. So with eye pinning, it's basically what it looks like. You ever look at your parrot and it's holding one of its favorite treats, or it is getting excited when it sees somebody it likes and its eyes get really, really small. The pupils dilate or contract super tiny. Usually you see this happen when they're eating a good snack that they like, somebody they see, or they get excited. So the reason why this is important is because a lot of people might not be able to see this little cue that a parrot's gonna have when its eyes pin. Sometimes that excitement can actually lead to getting bit, or it's going to be a warning when your parrot is about to bite. So a great example of this is Elfie really likes my girlfriend. He tends to like women a lot. He gets excited when he sees her because he only sees her sometimes in the afternoon, or a few days go by because she gets home late and goes to work before he wakes up. He gets really excited to see her and his eyes get really, really small, and he starts bobbing his head and he'll start kind of nipping at her, and sometimes out of excitement he'll take a little bite out of her. Now, it's not a malicious hate bite, it's just a little bite to let her know, or not really let her know, it's just basically communicating to her, I'm excited, and we want to make sure that in that scenario your parrot is a little bit more calm before we continue interacting with it, or get your parrot used to that person by having that person interact more.
Done playing with toys. I get scared sometimes. Look at that fluffy ass head. Oh, you're gonna fall, buddy. Gotta hold on. So fluffy.
So eye pinning is something to look out for. It can mean excitement. It can also mean it likes something, or it's getting really focused on something as well. The next one that you should look out for is aggression and a defensive position. Now this one is not going to be that difficult to mistake. It's going to be when your parrot's feathers are all fluffed up, it's leaning forward, its tail's in the air, and it's sometimes even opening its beak, letting you know, back up, you're about to get bit. So if you ever see an aggressive or defensive parrot, you probably want to just step away and remove yourself from the situation and give them a little space, because they are getting ready to bite you, and they're going to bite you with a purpose. And this has happened to me before when I didn't know it. And with Elfie, he tends to be not the best morning bird, aka if you wake him up out of his cage and you go to say hi and you get too close, he instantly gets defensive and he'll take a lunge at you, right? And usually that defensive, fluffed up feathers, open beak, maybe even sometimes eyes pinned, is going to lead to a lunge. And lunge is basically when a parrot jumps at you forward and tries to take a bite out of you. It's going to be super easy to tell when a parrot's lunging at you, right? The next one that I want you guys to look out for is regurgitation. So regurgitation is essentially when your parrot bobs its head up and down, sometimes on your hand, and it will literally vomit out food. Well, it's not literally vomiting out food from its stomach, it's coming from its crop, which is a kind of area right underneath their throat that holds excess food because they don't have hands, and that's how they store extra food. And in nature, this is how parrots show the ultimate bond of affection, is they regurgitate for their mates. They have one mate that they have for life, they regurgitate for them, and that's a sign of affection. But when a parrot does this to humans, it might look cute, or you might think, oh my God, that's so sweet, Elfie, you love me. But this also triggers hormones, because when a parrot bonds with an individual and it's regurgitating, it's usually also going to associate you with sexuality, or you are its mate. So we generally want to avoid having our parrots or stimulating our parrots to regurgitate for us, so that they don't get into a hormonal state, which usually leads to defensiveness, cage aggression, biting, wanting to attack other people. Overall, we want to avoid this, right? Another one that I see that's associated with regurgitation sometimes is what I call Elfie's sexy dance. Or sometimes for macaws, they put their tail in the air when they're females, just as an example. And basically a sexy dance looks really cute. Elfie's feathers get super low. He starts pacing back and forth, and he starts making little clicking sounds, and sometimes even bobbing his head. While it might look like a cute little dance, what he's really saying is, I want to get freaky with you on your hand. Obviously, when parrots are caged, when parrots are not caged, they live in captivity, they don't have the opportunity, unless they actually have a other parrot to mate with that's opposite sex. They don't have the opportunity to let out that sexual energy, right? Everybody has it. So in general, we just want to avoid doing things that stimulate them to get in that excited hormonal state, because like I mentioned, it's going to lead to problems down the road, whether that's short-term or long-term. And from there, another body language feature to look out for is basically back and forth pacing. So really what it looks like is your parrot is going to be swaying its head side to side really fast, or it's going to be moving its feet from side to side really fast and running across a rope where it's perched back and forth really fast. So usually when we see this, it means two things. Either, depending on the context, your parrot's really excited to see you or to interact with you or for whatever's happening, and it's running back and forth and it's pacing, or it means that your parrot potentially has anxiety or pent-up energy. So you see this a lot in captive animals, like in the zoo, and with parrots that don't always get out all the time. They pace back and forth because there's no other way that they can really let out the energy than running around back and forth. And if you see this happen and it's clearly not something out of excitement, you probably just want to focus on giving your parrot a little bit more quality time and a little bit more out of the cage time, and maybe even check up on its diet. If it's eating too much food, or it's eating certain food that are going to be too high in calories and nutrients, and it's not bringing it off, right? That's why I like indoor free flight. That's why I like free flight in general. For Alfie, it's to burn off some energy, not just for the sake of doing it. And obviously it's super cool when parrots fly around and they come to you on command. Another one that I notice in Alfie is a sudden neck extension or stop of all movement. Usually you'll see your parrot doing its thing, and then all of a sudden its neck goes really high up or really stretched out forward, and then it just stops and it's still. Usually that's associated when something that the bird hears, right? They're always listening, because they're prey animals in the wild. They get eaten by other predators. They have to be on high alert. So if they hear something, usually that means, hey, stop, something's going on. And they stand absolutely still, and they're just listening, and usually this is going to either lead, they get scared because they're on high alert. Sometimes it can lead to them flying away, or it's just letting you know that, hey, I'm on high alert, something's going on here, and that's what that really means. Another one that I see, usually when people have a new bird, or they just got their bird and they're going to try to handle it for the first time, or you try to get your parrot to step up, another key body language feature that I see is when your parrot leans back on its bowl or it tries to get away from you. It's basically just saying, hey, I'm really uncomfortable with you, with whatever's close by to me, or with you trying to grab me, or whatever it is that you're doing. I'm getting uncomfortable. So it's a body language feature in which they're basically letting you know, hey, I want to get away from this situation, and they will hang on an object, a perch or a bowl, and they'll lean their neck all the way back basically to avoid you. The next body language feature to look out for is growling. And when I mean growling, it doesn't necessarily mean like literally growling like a cat, but it does sound like that. So I've had instances where I'm scratching Alfie on the head and he sounds like he's mad. He does this low growl, and it sounds like he's about to bite me, but in that context, it means that that growling, that low, parrot purr as they call it, really just means that the parrot is enjoying the interaction with you and it's really enjoying that satisfaction. But I have seen growling in association with aggression and a defensive position. I remember I went to the bird store one of these days and I saw an African gray, and you can tell that it had gone through a few homes. It had a little bit of issues I needed to work with, and I remember just leaning down to look into the cage, and I was like, hey little buddy, how's it going? And instantly it started growling at me, and it went into a corner and kind of cowered and got in a defensive position. This is a parrot who is really upset, and that's also going to be associated with, if you try to come close to it, it's going to bite the heck out of you. So there's growling in the instance when you're petting your parrot, and it's a happy growl, the parrot purr, or growling in the context of in a defensive position, it's a really angry bird. Next one I want to talk about is beak grinding. And beak grinding usually happens when your parrot is grinding the bottom beak with the top part of the beak, and it's usually going to be associated when it's getting ready to go to bed and it's fluffed up. They do this naturally, and I don't think it's actually known why they do it, but it's kind of a routine that a lot of parrots, if not most parrots, do right when the sun sets or as they're getting ready to go to sleep. It's maybe just a thing to get them comfortable. So if your parrot is grinding its beak before you're getting ready to go to bed, or it's really cozy and its feathers are fluffed up, don't worry about it. It's a parrot thing. The next one I want to touch on is head bobbing. So head bobbing will usually come in the sense of a parrot that's really happy or excited. It basically does an extended head bob, and it's like, oh, I'm super excited. When Alfie gets excited, when we all give him attention, he gets a new toy. I remember I got him a new toy ball that he can rip apart. He held it and he started bobbing his head because he was so excited that he got a new toy, or he's getting attention.
Alfie. Oh, you excited, buddy? Woohoo! Yeah. You happy, bird? You excited? Oh, Alfie. Alfie. Yeah.
The other head bobbing that looks similar to that is going to be head bobbing that usually is followed by regurgitation. So in general, head bobbing means excited parrot, and that is one to look out for in terms of what context your parrot is doing it in, right? And the next one is fluff feathers. When a parrot has fluffed, ruffled up feathers and it's getting cozy and it's got one foot up, that usually means that your parrot's really relaxed and it's having a good time, so it's in chill mode. Another one that's common to see is when you have a baby or a weaning parrot, they're getting their muscles really used to flying, and that's what parrots do. They'll flap their wings on a perch, for example, on a surface, and they're basically just mimicking practicing flying, or it's a way to get out energy. So if you ever have a parrot on a perch and it's just flapping its wings crazy, it just means that it's trying to exercise its wings. And it could also mean that your parrot is trying to let out some energy, or maybe your parrot really wants to fly, right? So wing flapping is another one to look out for, but not to worry about too much. Next is when your parrot stands on one foot. Again, that usually means that your parrot is relaxed or it's hanging out, and usually parrots sleep on one foot and they tuck their head into their feathers as well to sleep. So bird on one foot, nothing to worry about. It's something common they do when they're getting really relaxed, and they can hold their weight like that for a really long amount of time. From there, I also want to take into account that you're going to have certain species specific behaviors. So you might have a macaw or a cockatoo with their crest that they do something in a certain way that maybe other parrots don't do, or it's just going to be unique to your own parrot, even though it's a different species. Those are just ones to look out for. Obviously, I'm not going to cover them all in this video, but that's just something you're going to learn with time when you get to know your parrot. And I wanted to end this note by letting you guys know that You always want to make sure that you're understanding your parrot, you're observing it, you get to know your parrot really well, because you might have instances where your parrot's behavior changes very suddenly. And this can usually indicate that there's something wrong with your parrot, or maybe even that your parrot's sick, and that's the best way to tell. So with Elfie, for example, he was there was this one morning where usually when I come out with his food and he's getting ready to eat, he gets really excited. He paces back and forth because he's excited and he was ready to whistle and do tricks. This one day that I saw Elfie, he was very calm and not very excited, and I was like, hey buddy, what's going on? And I remember just seeing him, and he was bobbing his head side to side on his rope perch, and what I noticed was this clear liquid coming out, and I was like, whoa, that's not normal. So I kept observing him in that morning. He went to go down to try to eat food. He was clearly hungry, but he couldn't keep his food down. He would regurgitate it or vomit basically, and a bunch of clear liquid would go out. That change of behavior, I immediately went to the avian vet. Turns out he had a tummy infection or a stomach infection, and as a result, they put him on antibiotics. He got better from the, oh, Elfie, got your feather here, buddy. He got off of antibiotics. After a few days, he was feeling better, but those are also body language indicators you want to look for. A sudden change that's not normal to your parrot. You're going to want to make sure that you observe and understand, right? And in case you guys haven't noticed, the channel has been changed to Parrots and Company, or Parrots&Co for short, as opposed to the Bird Bay, which it previously was. And that is because I have some exciting things coming, websites coming out, some cool things coming for you guys, some free downloads, and I basically wanted to make the channel less about me and more about the parrots. So I thought of creating a brand, essentially Parrots&Co, that encompasses, the mission and really why I enjoy making these videos. And it's really to help the parrots and help the owners develop a lifelong relationship so that these parrots don't get rehomed. They don't end up, in some sanctuary with all their feathers plucked away. I feel like with a little bit of education, a little bit of patience and proper technique, you can develop a lifelong relationship with your parrot. And that's part of the reason why I changed the name of the channel, with a whole bunch of other things coming along with it as well, which I'm super excited about into 2021. And that's just because, I want to do it for you guys, and I want to do it for the parrots as well. Less rehome birds, more educated owners, and everyone's going to be, having a good time. And that's really what it's all about. So with that being said, guys, thank you for watching this training. It was a little bit longer, but still important. And don't forget to subscribe and check out the Instagram link for Elfie and I to check that out, and let me know what else you want me to cover in terms of training. Alan here, aka the Bird Bay, signing out with Parrots&Co, and Elfie and I also want to wish you guys happy holidays and a Merry Christmas.